We move on to Sunday. Ravens at the Browns, AFC North. Lamar Jackson was MVP last year, and I've got to say, I thought last year was a bit of an underwhelming year for the quarterbacks. I mean, personally, I don't feel Lamar was the MVP last year, but Lamar is playing, I think, at a significantly higher level than his MVP season last year. This is probably the best quarterback in the league right now. You've got the Browns, who have now lost to Sean Watson, and in their first 7 games, they were last in yards offensively, and they were bottom five in points scored. So we now get the start of a new era with Jameis Winston. But oddly, we're also getting a new offensive play caller in Ken Dorsey. And to me, I feel like that's a bit of a calculated move by Stefanski. It's almost like, don't look at me when it's all gone wrong. I'm not calling the plays. I do think that's a bit of a cheap move. And especially Ken Dorsey, who, as we know, was the offensive coordinator at the Bills and somehow managed to make Josh Allen and that crew not look good. So I don't know how this is going to go. The Ravens, I think, they're the best offense in the league right now. They're averaging over 200 rushing yards a game. I mean, that is actually ridiculous. And in large part, it is King Henry, it is Lamar, but that's an insane number. The Browns, defensively, they're still pretty good. I just wonder, though, with this change on offense, Myles Garrett seemingly quite upset with the fans and them sort of cheering that Watson was injured. That might end up being bad karma if you lose a few more games because Myles Garrett might be gone. I don't any given Sunday, but I don't see any hope for the Browns with the adversity that they're now dealing with. Hopefully, Jameis Winston gives them a boost, but I just think the Ravens offensively will be too much. Derrick Henry, I think he's 125 yards away from 1,000 yards in 8 weeks.
By Halloween.
Eric Dickerson's record could be in danger this year.
They'll sit him down, surely. Like they want to
Well,
keep him fresh for the playoffs.
True. There's more to it than records, but he is only 1,140 odd yards away from 2,000 yards, which would make him the only running back in NFL history to have multiple 2,000 rushing yard seasons. But in any case, Ravens win this game. I don't really see a hope for the Browns. I think the spread is up there. It's like, is it 8.5?
It's a lot. I think last time I checked it was 10. It's no 8.5. You're right. Yeah.
I say the Ravens cover.
Okay. I see the Cleveland have been a total mess, but with what's happening in Cleveland, with Nick Chubb returning, with Jameis Winston now at quarterback, with this new offensive coordinator, I think it's just a case of watch what we see from the Browns because we don't know how this is going to turn out. We really don't know. I mean, there's only one direction it can go from where it was. And the Ravens, I mean, like you said, it's close with them and the Lions, but yeah, they're the two best offenses in the NFL. And they can beat you almost any way that they want. They gave the Bucs a 10-point start and then absolutely crushed them and then eased up in the fourth quarter. when the Ravens are hot, they just go to town on teams and they can score like every time that they possess the football. It's scary what they can do. Lamar is throwing the ball deep. And yeah, if people are still saying that this guy cannot throw, then you're just not paying attention and you just do not know the game because you've read a headline from years ago or you've heard a talking head coming out with some nonsense and you've just repeated it, but you're not paying attention. So let's get that out of the way because, like you said, he's probably the MVP right now because they don't give that award to running backs. If they did, then King Henry's, in the running, so to speak. But yeah, Cleveland, wait and see. Only one direction they can go, but until I see it, I can't believe it. And the Ravens, yeah, they should win this game easing up. I'm interested in this game. I'm interested in the total points, which is 44.5, because you'd give the Ravens because I've not been massively impressed with the Cleveland Browns defense. I mean, the Bengals, yeah, last week the Bengals, that's another story. But the Bengals didn't put up massive points on the Browns. But in previous weeks, the Browns defense was getting torched. So how many points do you give the Ravens? If I'm handicapping the Ravens total points in this game, I'm giving them 27.5 at least. So if the Browns put up 17, then that over is going to cover 44. So that's my way into this game. I wouldn't be, because what I said about the Cleveland offense, I need to see it first. So I wouldn't, I know it's the Ravens and they should crush them, but 8.5 seems a bit rich considering that the Cleveland and these questions on offense. But I'm more interested in seeing Cleveland and their effort, seeing if the curse or the just negativity, if some of that has been lifted with Deshaun Watson forced now being hurt and having to sit down. Jameis Winston is, from all that I can see and all I've seen before, quite a likable character. So if he can just install some kind of positivity, some go forward, and we know the guy can sling it, sometimes going the other way for a pick six, but the guy can throw and he can throw deep. He's got a really strong arm. He was the first overall pick going back a few years now for a reason. So yeah, this game, I think it goes over and I think the Ravens should crush them, but I'm interested to see what Cleveland do on offense.
Yep, some really good points there, Paul. I think that Jameis Winston might carry that over himself, like both for and against.
Yeah.
If history's to go by anything.
Yeah, he is definitely. He's been responsible for a lot of over bets that I've cashed before, betting on the Bucks. And, Jameis passing yards, it's always a good bet. You can get Jameis passing yards because the Ravens, you don't run on the Ravens. You just don't run on this Ravens D line and the linebackers with the speed that they've got at linebacker. And they can all tackle, but they're not great in pass coverage, the Ravens.
If they get up, they will ease up. They always do, it seems now.
Yeah. So Nick Chubb, easing his way back into it. I know he had a touchdown last week, but they did load manage him quite rightly after his horrific injury. And yeah, if they get down, like you said, if they get down early as expected, then Jameis is going to come out and he's going to come out slinging the rock. So yeah, that's an interesting. This game, yeah, it looks, if you're not paying attention, you could look at this game and go, oh yeah, the Ravens crushed them. I think this could be a sneaky good game.
Divisionals always are.
Yep.